Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Monday, October 15th, 2018. Today I'm going to recap last night's crucial Game 2 between the Astros and the Red Sox. Look ahead to tonight's Game 3 between the Brewers and the Dodgers. Go over all the NFL scores. Look ahead to tonight's Packers-Niners game. Go over yesterday's hockey scores. Look ahead to tonight's games. Do my power rankings prior to Week 8 of the college football season. And I'll do guest lines for Week 8 as well. And also tonight's special podcast doing the NBA season predictions. All right. The Red Sox defeated the Astros 7-5 to even up the LCS at a game apiece. This is the first time the LCS has been 1-1 since, ironically, when the Red Sox were last in the LCS in 2013 when they played Detroit. Matt Barnes at the win, Garrett Cole at the loss, Craig Kimbrell at the save. Bottom of the first, RBI single, Andrew Benintendi, 1-0 Sox. RBI single, Rafael Devers, 2-0 Sox. Top of the second, 2-run double, George Springer, 2-2. Top of the third, 2-run home run, Marwin Gonzalez, 4-2 Astros. Bottom of the third, bases clearing double, Jackie Bradley Jr., 5-4 Sox. Bottom of the seventh, Mookie Betts scores on a pass ball by Martin Maldonado to make it 6-4. Bottom of the eighth, RBI double, Mookie Betts makes it 7-4 Red Sox. Top of the ninth, RBI single, Jose Altuve made it 7-5 final. Game 3 will be played at Minute Maid Park tomorrow, late afternoon. Game 3 tonight from Los Angeles between the Brewers and the Dodgers. 7:39 is first pitch on Fox Sports 1. Jhoulys Chacin and Walker Buehler. Chacin's pitched well in some big games down the stretch this year, obviously in the game 163 at Wrigley Field, and he pitched nicely against the Rockies as well. Walker Buehler had a bit of a clunker in Atlanta, but it was just one bad game. I think he rebounds here and leads the Dodgers to a 2-1 series lead. Football. Some interesting results. The Falcons defeated the Buccaneers 34-29. Much needed win for the Falcons. They're 2-4. Tampa's 2-3. Jameis Winston, 30 for 41, 395 yards, 4 touchdowns and 2 picks. Matt Ryan, 31 of 41, 354 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Steelers defeat the Bengals 28-21 on a game-winning touchdown from Ben Roethlisberger to Antonio Brown for 31 yards. And then they completed the 2-point conversion to go up 7 at the end. Impressive win for Pittsburgh. They're 3-2-1. Cincinnati's 4-2. Ben Roethlisberger, 32 of 46, 369 yards and a touchdown. Andy Dalton, 26 of 42, 229 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Chargers defeated the Browns 38-14. Impressive win for the Chargers to avoid a little bit of a trap here. Even though they were an underdog at kickoff, they're 4-2. The Browns are 2-3-1. This was the worst game the Browns have played all year. Phillip Rivers, 11 of 20, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Meanwhile, he wasn't good, but the Chargers found the way to win the game. Baker Mayfield, 22 of 46, 238 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks, so a little bit of regression for the number 1 overall pick. The Seahawks defeated the Raiders 27-3. Seattle is 3-3. Oakland's 1-5. Russell Wilson, 17 of 23, 222 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Derek Carr, 23 of 31, 142 yards. You could easily make a case that the Raiders are the worst team in football. There's only 2 teams you can make that argument for, maybe 3 or 4. Oakland and the Giants are 2 of them. You can make a case for Buffalo, and you can make a case for Arizona. The other team that you could make an argument for is the Indianapolis Colts, but they have the best quarterback of those 5 teams with Andrew Luck. That's what saves them from not being the worst team, in my opinion. The Dolphins defeat the Bears 31-28 in overtime on a game-winning field goal by Jason Sanders. At the tail end of overtime, 47-yarder for the win. Miami's 4-2. Chicago's 3-2. Brock Osweiler gets the surprise start over Ryan Tannehill. They said Ryan Tannehill had an injury. A lot of people in the media think they're lying and it's just a benching. Osweiler, 28 of 44, 380 yards, 3 touchdowns and 2 picks. Mitch Trubisky, 22 of 31, 316 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Classic trap game for the Bears with New England looming next week. And that's why that line was so low at the start. And it went up to 7.5 at game time because of the Tannehill thing. I guess Tannehill was worth 4.5 points. But Give the Dolphins credit. They're 4-2. I wonder if Osweiler is going to be their quarterback going forward. So that's something to keep an eye on. The Vikings defeated the Cardinals 27-17. The Vikings are 3-2-1. Arizona's 1-5. Much needed win for Minnesota. Kirk Cousins, 24-34, 233 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Josh Rosen, 21-31, 240 yards, and a pick. The Jets defeated the Colts 42-34. An impressive win for the Jets to get back to 500 at 3-3. Indianapolis is 1-5. Sam Darnold had a nice game. He was probably the best one of the 4 rookie quarterbacks this past week. 24-30, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Andrew Luck, 23-43, 301 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 3 picks. Indianapolis probably would have won this game if they didn't turn the ball over 3 times, although New York turned the ball over a couple times as well. The Redskins defeat the Panthers 23-17. Good bounce-back win for them to improve to 3-2. Carolina's also 3-2. Alex Smith, 21-36, 163 yards and 2 touchdowns. Cam Newton, 27-40, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. The Texans defeat the Bills 20-13. Took them pick 6 with 1:23 remaining by Jonathan Joseph to seal the win. Texans are back to 500 at 3-3 after starting the year 0-3. Buffalo's 2-4. Deshaun Watson wasn't good. 15-25, 177 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks. He's still recovering from that ACL injury. Josh Allen, 10-17, 84 yards. He actually got hurt in the game, and Nate Peterman saw some time, 6-12, 61 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. The Rams defeat the Broncos 23-20. Rams are 6-0. Denver's 2-4. Denver's also in the argument for worst team, especially these past 4 weeks. Jared Goff, 14-28, 201 yards and a pick. Case Keenum, 25-41, 322 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. The Cowboys destroyed the Jaguars 40-7. This was the best win the Cowboys have had in probably 2 years. Very impressed. They're 3-3. Jacksonville's also 3-3. Dak Prescott, 17-27, 183 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown. Blake Bortles, 15-26, 149 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Ezekiel Elliott also had a great game as well. The Ravens defeat the Titans 21-0. Impressive win for the Ravens considering it was a shutout. They're 4-2. Tennessee's 3-3. Joe Flacco, 25-37, 238 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Marcus Mariota, 10-15, 117 yards. Not an impressive season for the number 2 overall pick from 2016. The Patriots defeat the Chiefs 43-40 in what was the game of the year so far. The Patriots are 4-2. The Chiefs are 5-1. Tom Brady, 24-35, 340 yards and a touchdown. Pat Mahomes, 23-36, 352 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a pick. And Brady also had a rushing touchdown in there as well. But yeah, what a great win for New England. Not a bad loss for the Chiefs. I know Andy Reid mismanaged the clock a lot in the final minutes of the game. Gave Tom Brady too much time. That's why it cost them the game. But they have to be proud of the way they played. They weren't blown out. They're still a contender in the AFC. But listen, it's hard to win a primetime game in Gillette Stadium unless if you're the Patriots. That's just reality. And tonight you have the 49ers and the Packers, 8:15 ESPN. Green Bay's favored by 9.5. I picked Green Bay on Friday's podcast to win. Green Bay has to come out and prove to everybody that they're still a force to be reckoned with. And the NFC North is probably the best division in football. You have the Vikings. You have the upstart Bears. You have Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. And hey, the Lions might not be as bad as they looked in week 1. Got to give the Lions some credit. They probably should be 3-1. They blew that Cowboys game. But, hey, that team probably isn't as bad as they were week 1. And they should have won week 2 against the Niners as well. And they did beat the Patriots in week 3. And then they beat Rodgers and the Packers in week 5. So, you got to give the Lions credit where credit's due. The best division in football this year is the NFC North. And the Packers have to win tonight at home to get themselves above 500 on the year. Hockey. Only a few games yesterday. The Devils defeat the Sharks 3-2. Good win for New Jersey. They're 3-0. San Jose's 2-3-1. The number 1 star of the game, Kyle Palmieri, with 2 more goals. I think he has 6 goals on the year. He might be this year's Taylor Hall for them. That might be a little bit of an overreaction. The number 2 star of the game was Jean-Sebastian Day with a goal. And the number 3 star of the game is your reigning Hart Trophy winner, Taylor Hall, with 2 assists. The Ducks defeated the Blues 3-2 in a nice win for the Anaheim Ducks. They're 4-1-1. St. Louis drops to 1-2-2. This game ended on a power play goal, not ended, but the go-ahead goal was by the Ducks. They came from behind 2-1 down and going into the third, as Andrew Cogliano scores the go-ahead power play goal in the third period, and he was the number 1 star of the game with a goal. Alex T, number 2 star of the game with a goal, and then Vladimir Tarasenko, the number 3 star of the game with an assist. The Jets defeated the Hurricanes 3-1. Nice win for Winnipeg. They improved to 3-2. Carolina drops to 4-1-1. So the first regulation loss of the year for Carolina. The number 1 star of the game was the backup goalie for the Jets, Laurent Brossoit, with 42 saves. The number 2 star of the game with 2 assists, Josh Morosi. And the number 3 star of the game with a goal, Brian Little. Tonight's games, you have 4, 7:30, Kings Maple Leafs. You have the Kings, who've been a little Jekyll and Hyde so far to start the year. East Coast trips are tough, and this is probably their toughest test yet. You have the Red Wings and the Canadiens, 2 rebuilding teams there. Montreal's off to a surprisingly good start. And speaking of rebuilding teams off to a surprisingly good start, you have the Ottawa Senators at 2-2-1 hosting the Dallas Stars, who are 3-1. And at 8 o'clock, you have the Wild and the Predators. Wild's 1-1-2. The Preds are 4-1. Surprised that this game wasn't chosen for NBCSN. College football power rankings. As I do each and every week, I'm going to go from 130 to 1. 130 is UTEP. They're just not good. San Jose State's 129. 128's Rice. 127 Kent State. Those are easily your 4 worst teams in the country. 126 is Bowling Green. 125 is Texas State. 124 Central Michigan. 123 is Old Dominion. 122 is Western Kentucky. 121 is UMass. 120 is UConn. 119 is New Mexico State. 118 South Alabama. 117 UTSA. 116 Georgia State. 115 Tulsa. 114 Wyoming. 113 UNLV. 112 Eastern Carolina. 111 Rutgers. 110 Kansas. 109 UNC. 108 Louisiana. 107 Miami of Ohio. 106 Arkansas. 105 Southern Miss. 104 Colorado State. 103 Charlotte. 102 Liberty. 101 Coastal Carolina. 100 Eastern Michigan, 99 Ball State, 98 UL Monroe, 97 Oregon State, 96 Air Force, 95 Nevada, 94 Middle Tennessee, 93 Arkansas State, 92 Ohio, 91 FIU, 90 Akron, 89 Illinois, 88 Nebraska, 87 UCLA, 86 Navy, 85 SMU, 84 Tulane, 83 Toledo, 82 FAU, 81 Marshall, 80 Louisville. They're just an atrocity. 79 Georgia Southern, 78 New Mexico, 77 Hawaii, 76 BYU, 75 Louisiana Tech, 74 Northern Illinois, 73 Kansas State, 72 Western Michigan, 71 UAB, 70 Tennessee. Tennessee is a surprising 3-3, and if they win 3 more games, they'd be bowl eligible in Jeremy Pruitt's first year, and that to me would be a huge success for that program, considering all the turmoil that they've gone through the last couple of years. 69 Baylor, 68 Minnesota, 67 Vandy, 66 Indiana, 65 Arizona, 64 Temple, 63 Pitt, 62 Wake Forest, 61 Troy, 60 Purdue, 59 Missouri, 58 Buffalo, 57 North Texas, 56 Army, 55 Boise State, 54 Fresno State, 53 Utah State, 52 Cal, 51 Arizona State, 50 San Diego State, 49 Georgia Tech, 48 Florida State, 47 is Memphis, 46 Houston, 45 Virginia, 44 South Carolina, 43 Appalachian State, 42 Northwestern, 41 Syracuse, 40 Maryland, 39 Oklahoma State, 38 TCU, 37 Ole Miss, 36 Iowa State, 35 Utah, 34 Texas Tech, 33 Virginia Tech, 32 Boston College, 31 Auburn, 30 Duke, 29 Stanford, 28 Miami, 27 Colorado, 26 USC, 25 Washington State, 24 Mississippi State, 23 South Florida, 22 Cincinnati, 21 Wisconsin, 20 Penn State, 19 Michigan State, 18 Iowa, 17 NC State, 16 Kentucky, 15 Texas A&M, 14 West Virginia, 13 Florida, 12 Washington, 11 UCF, 10 Oregon, 9 Oklahoma, 8 Georgia, 7 Michigan, 6 Texas, 5 LSU, 4 Notre Dame, 3 Clemson, 2 Ohio State, and number 1, Alabama. Quickly about Alabama, I'm a little concerned about the Tua Tagovailoa injury, but I think he'll rebound from this a little bit and become healthy. And they need him to be healthy if they want to make the playoff, because Jalen Hurts is going from Tua Tagovailoa to Jalen Hurts is like in a college football world going to Aaron Rodgers to Tyrod Taylor. It's just brutal. And I think Tua is that special of a player and of a prospect. And it'd be just unfortunate if this injury for Tua continues to linger. Guess the lines for Week 8. Some of these I did okay on, and others I was way off. A lot of these lines were hard to pick. There's some games where a lot of bad teams are facing each other, which made the lines harder to pick. We're going to start with Thursday night. Georgia State at Arkansas State. I have Arkansas State laying 13.5. Arkansas State is laying 14. So, not a bad start by getting a half point off there. Also, on Thursday night, Stanford at Arizona State. I have Stanford as 3-point favorites. Stanford's laying 2, so 1 point off. Friday night, Colorado State at Boise State. I have Boise minus 24.5. Boise's minus 24, so a half point off. So, good start so far. Also, Friday night, Air Force at UNLV. I believe I was way off on this one. UNLV, I picked giving 4.5. I was way off. Air Force is giving 14. I think that's ridiculous. I think UNLV can win outright. I don't trust Air Force on the road. And I think they're overreacting to their performance against Navy. Saturday, you have number 6 Michigan at number 20 Michigan State. That is a great game. I have Michigan laying 3.5. Michigan's laying 7. I think that line's too high. Number 9, Oklahoma at TCU. I have Oklahoma laying 17.5. Oklahoma's only laying 7.5. I think that a lot of people are overreacting to Oklahoma's loss against Texas, and some people are overreacting in the other way of TCU's loss to Texas Tech and think that TCU will rebound a little bit. But I came away concerned the other night with TCU and them losing at home to Texas Tech. Maryland at number 19, Iowa. I have Iowa laying 7.5. Iowa's laying 12.5, so 5 points off. Number 20, Cincinnati at Temple. I have Cincinnati minus 6. Temple's laying 3.5. That's crazy, but at the same time, it's not. Maybe they don't believe in Cincinnati. Illinois at number 23, Wisconsin. I have Wisconsin minus 37.5. Wisconsin is really laying 26, so I was 11.5 points off on that. Buffalo at Toledo. I have Buffalo minus 2.5. Toledo's laying 2, so the home team's favored there. Tulsa at Arkansas. I have Arkansas minus 7, and there's no line out for this yet. Auburn at Ole Miss. I picked Auburn laying 9.5. Auburn's only laying 3. I think it's a bit of an overreaction. Northwestern at Rutgers. I have Northwestern minus 14.5, and Northwestern's laying 20.5, so 6 points off. Miami of Ohio at Army. I have Army minus 18. Army's only minus 8. North Carolina at Syracuse. I have Syracuse minus 12. Syracuse is minus 11.5, so a half point off. Virginia at Duke. I have Duke minus 8.5. Duke's minus 8. Again, a half point off. Idaho State at Liberty is FCS versus FBS, so no line. Bowling Green at Ohio. I have Ohio minus 20.5. Ohio's minus 16.5, so 4 points off. Utah State at Wyoming, I have Utah State minus 8.5, and Utah State's minus 14.5, so 6 points off. FAU at Marshall, I have FAU minus 7.5. Marshall's actually favored by 2.5. That's crazy to me. Charlotte at Middle Tennessee, I have Middle by 12.5, and there's no line up yet. Eastern Michigan at Ball State, I have Ball State minus 5. Ball State is getting 4, which I think is crazy. Western Michigan at Central Michigan, I have Western by 7. Western's laying 4.5. Number 1 Alabama at Tennessee, I have Bama minus 28. No line out for the reason of the Tua Tagovailoa injury, so that makes sense. I think it's minus 28, assuming Tua plays, but if it's Jalen Hurts, then I'd say probably 12, because I don't think Jalen Hurts is good. Maybe 14. But if I knew it was Jalen Hurts starting, I probably would say Bama by 13 would be my guess with Hurts. But with Tua, I'd say 28. I really think there's a huge difference between Tagovailoa and Hurts, as I mentioned before. So, minus 28 if it's Tua, but if it's Jalen Hurts, minus 13 at Tennessee. Number 16, NC State at number 3, Clemson. Secretly a good game. I have Clemson minus 17.5. Clemson's laying 17, so a half point off again. Colorado at number 15, Washington. I have Washington by 10. Washington is laying 16, so 6 points off there. Penn State at Indiana. Penn State dropped to 18. I have them laying 15.5 at Indiana. They're laying 14, so a point and a half off. Coastal Carolina at UMass. I have Coastal by 5.5. UMass is giving 3.5. Houston at Navy, I have Houston minus 7. Houston's minus 12.5, so 5.5 points off. SMU at Tulane, I have Tulane minus 6.5. Tulane's minus 7. Again, a half point off. Akron at Kent State, I have Akron minus 8. Akron's minus 4. I think that's a little low. Louisiana at Appalachian State, I have App State minus 21. App State's minus 24, so 3 points off. UTEP at Louisiana Tech, I have Tech minus 29.5. They're minus 24.5, so 5 points off. Wake at Florida State, I have FSU minus 7.5. FSU is minus 10, so 2.5 off there. Minnesota and Nebraska, I have Minnesota minus 4.5. Nebraska's by 4. That's crazy. They're due, Nebraska, but I don't know. They've really had a year from hell so far. Kansas at Texas Tech, I have Tech minus 20.5, and that's what the line is. So that was my first correct pick of the podcast. Memphis at Missouri, I have Missouri by 9. Missouri's minus 8.5, so half point off. Cal at Oregon State, I have Cal minus 5. No line yet. Georgia Southern at New Mexico State, I have Southern by 10.5. Southern's minus 13, so 2.5 off. Mississippi State at number 5 LSU, I have LSU minus 7, and that's what the line is, so that was my second correct pick in the podcast. Number 10 UCF at East Carolina, I have UCF minus 24.5. They're minus 21.5, so 3 points off. UConn at number 21 South Florida, I have South Florida by 38.5. They're minus 32.5, so 6 points off. UTSA at Southern Miss, I have Southern Miss minus 14.5. They're minus 17.5, so 3 points off. Texas State at Louisiana Monroe, I have UL Monroe minus 12.5. They're minus 11, so a point and a half off. Number 2, Ohio State at Purdue. This was a tricky line to pick, but I have Ohio State minus 26 on the road, but they're laying only 13.5. I didn't think that they'd go this low, but they did. Number 12, Oregon at Washington State. That's where game day's going this week. It's the Pullman. I have Oregon laying 3.5. Oregon's laying 1.5, so 2 points off. Vanderbilt at Kentucky, I have Kentucky minus 16. And number 14, Kentucky is laying 11, so 5 points off there. Fresno State at New Mexico, I have Fresno minus 6.5, and Fresno is laying 14.5, so 8 points off. Rice at FIU, I have FIU minus 26. No line yet. North Texas at UAB, I have North Texas minus 6. North Texas is only minus 1 on the road. Old Dominion at Western Kentucky, I have Western by 3. Western's favored by 5. USC at Utah, I have the Trojans by 4.5. Utah's actually a 6.5 point favorite. I was way off there. Arizona at UCLA, I have UCLA minus 4. Arizona's a 1 point favorite. San Jose State at San Diego State, I have San Diego State minus 30. They're minus 27.5, so 2.5 points off. Nevada at Hawaii. I have Hawaii minus 8, and there's no line for that yet either. I did okay. I was very close on a lot of them. I was a half point off at least on 6 or 7 of these, and I picked 2 exact. I was 3 points off on a couple, 1.5, 2 points. So I did pretty good this week. This is the best I've done out of the 8 weeks so far in terms of guessing the college lines. So tomorrow I'll be guessing the NFL lines. I'll be going over the NLCS Game 3. I'll be doing my NFL Power Rankings as well. And I'll go over all the hockey, Monday Night Football, and anything else that goes on in the world of sports. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.